just a quick recap over the week. Our tafsirs we consider to be quite unique in the sense that we blend political events, usuli points, as well as standard tafsir and events from before. In keeping with this tone, one current change or one current series of events that are happening is the UAE have become even more manifest in their nifaq and kufr. They have openly endorsed Zionists, and their trolls, their industry level Hasbara, the equivalent of the Zionists, they have their Hasbara, the UAE has their UAE Hasbara, and they are openly pushing the anti-Ikhwan rhetoric as a smokescreen to throw every person with an idea or any inclination towards Islam under the bus. They have been so vehement and so public in it. It's actually quite laughable. There's a phenomenon in the UK which we call the supply teacher. A supply teacher is someone who fills in for the teacher, and because they're only there for a little while, they have to do things which are just to ingratiate themselves to the people without knowing that they're actually quite laughable and lamentable. That's the tact that the UAE have gone with. They look so laughable. You don't actually need to rebuttal them because it's so glaringly obvious. But they still persist. They associate everything with Ikhwan. And they want to advance their own point of view about authoritarianism as being some kind of a standard. And the irony is this. They are pushing this to the West, and the West are transmitting it. Outlets like GB News and the far-right commentators are pushing this thing. Something that undermines their own creed, the West's own creed about this facade of freedom. Whereas, as Muslims, we have our own concept of accountability. So the same people who lie about the Salaf and not speaking out, for example, we have a recent video that was extracted on from Ustad Abdurrahman Hassan, where he said, even if a ruler rules by all kufr, his entire constitution is kufr, he's still not kafir. And then by extension, it lends itself to not even being able to vocalize dissent. See the connection here. So on the one hand, you've got the UAE, who are pushing Islamophobes and attacking Ikhwan and any Islamist, anyone who has an Islamic understanding when it comes to politics. And then you've got the Madkhali Uthman Khamis nexus, which talks about a rule can rule by all kufr, and he's still a Muslim, and by extension means that you can't even speak out against him. And then you compare it to the actual Khulafa Rashidin. When a man stood up and accounted Umar bin al-Khattab just over how much cloth he was allocated. When the lady stood up to account Umar bin al-Khattab over him wanting to put a limit on dowry, and in both instances, Umar bin al-Khattab being happy with the dissent because he had gone over the remit of a ruler. So if you have someone like that being open to accountability and actually encouraging it to the extent even narrations which talk about him not being satisfied by people who vocalize that they would straighten him or they'll correct him. He wanted them to strike his neck. He wanted that concept to permeate amongst the ummah. And then at the same time, you've got the UAE camp who are pushing Islamophobes and pushing the same rhetoric. And then you've got the Madkhali camp and the Uthman Khamis camp pushing the same thing. This is the end game. Do you think the UAE cares how many ruqa you do? If you do fajr in a masjid, do you think they care if you think Allah has a hand or not? They only care about looting the ummah, colluding with the Zionists. They have a $10 billion contract publicly admitted to on their own website. And then you have stooges who even to this day can't say a single word against the UAE. Bought people. If they're not bought, then they're free whores. I'm talking about Uthman bin Farouk and Adnan Rashid and many others. They have been verbose against Iran, and we have criticized Iran endlessly for what they did in Syria. However, for them to be quiet when the ultimate munafiq, the munafiq Iratis, as I call them, the ultimate in nifaq, the boss level munafiqeen, and you're not saying a single word. When conspicuously Uthman bin Farouk is silent, saying, "Oh, I need to see the evidence." When it's obvious, public, attested to on their own web pages, when their own mouthpieces are public with it, and yet he pleads. I know Americans have the concept of the Fifth Amendment. He pleads the Fifth when it's glaringly obvious. This is not Islam. UAE Islam is the equivalent of Nas Daily, the Zionist-funded Monotheism, but I think he's an agnostic now, Palestinian turncoat. This is the same type of Islam that they're peddling, one which echoes the Hasbara talking points, ones which completely acquiesce to people of power. And let there be no mistake, if you are silent about the UAE, you are compromised. If you are a coward, shut up. If you are a coward, shut up about every single political issue, but don't be selective. There is nothing more that there is no level of nifaq the UAE hasn't sunk to. If you are silent on them, you are compromised, knowingly or unknowingly. You are compromised, either you are bought. I'm talking about peptides and business interests, or you are dumb and blinded by sectarianism. Either way, you are a liability and you will be exposed. It doesn't matter how many good deeds you do, it doesn't offset exonerating these Tawheed. You know the UAE has, the dirham has a conversion rate. What is the conversion rate for ignoring genocide? Imagine I wanted to punch someone, kick a baby. I wanted to drop kick a baby. How many good deeds would I have to do to offset their act of drop kicking a baby? I want to ask you, what is your going rate to offset hiding the crimes of the UAE, glossing over the crimes of the UAE, promoting the UAE? What is your going rate? I'm not talking about money. How many people do you think you must convert before you think you're justified? You have the pass. You guys used to obsess about Aqidah. And the most minuscule detail about how far your trousers are above your ankle. Now you've gone quiet? That minutiae isn't sufficient for you? You've now gone quiet when the nifaq is so clear and manifest? If you don't know, I'll give you a list of names of people who have been peddling their nonsense. Conspicuously Faris is quiet about it. To the extent recently one even put the highest level of sovereignty is to the ruler, is to the nation. Open, clear shirk. We're not talking about the shirk, you're talking about grades. This is open, clear, doesn't get much more shirk than that. The shirk of shaitan, where he puts his desires above Allah. Where is your Tawheed? Has your Tawheed gone on mute? Do I need to launch your Zoom and unmute you?